I was standing in the entrance of Bellissimo, the most expensive Italian restaurant in Manhattan, trying not to have a complete breakdown while the hostess told me for the third time that my reservation didn't exist. Not canceled, not delayed, just gone. Like I'd never called 2 months ago and confirmed it 3 times in the past week. My mother was waiting outside in the taxi. She'd put on the dress I bought her for Christmas, the one she'd been saving for a special occasion. She'd done her makeup for the first time since starting chemotherapy 6 months ago. She was excited, actually excited. For the first time in half a year, she had something to look forward to that wasn't a doctor's appointment or a treatment session. And I was about to walk back out there and tell her we'd be eating at the diner down the street instead. Again. "I'm so sorry, miss, but I've checked our system 3 times. There's no reservation under Morrison, and we're completely booked for the next 2 weeks. If you'd like to try calling tomorrow to schedule something further out." The hostess had that perfectly practiced, sympathetic expression, the one that said she'd done this before, that she was used to disappointed people, that she knew exactly how this was going to end, and there was nothing she could do about it. I felt tears starting to form and blinked them back hard. I was 23 years old. I worked 2 jobs. I had saved for 4 months to afford this dinner. I'd planned everything perfectly. My mother's 54th birthday. The big celebration after finishing her first round of chemo. The one bright spot in a year that had been nothing but hospital visits and insurance bills and watching the strongest woman I knew get weaker every single day. "Please, there has to be something you can do. It's my mother's birthday. She's been sick. This is important." I heard my voice crack and hated myself for it. The hostess's expression softened slightly, but she shook her head. "I truly am sorry, but unless someone cancels or doesn't show up, every table is spoken for. We're one of the hardest reservations in the city to get. I made a reservation 2 months ago. I understand your frustration, but I can only work with what's in our system, and you're not in our system." I wanted to scream, wanted to demand to speak to a manager, wanted to do something other than stand there feeling helpless and stupid and like the worst daughter in the world. That's when I heard a voice behind me, deep, male, with an accent I couldn't quite place. Italian, maybe? Or something close to it. "The corner table, 12, no one sitting there." The hostess went pale, like actually lost color in her face. "Mr. Moretti, that's your table, your reservation." "I'm aware. I'm giving it to her." I turned around to see who was speaking. The man standing about 3 feet behind me was probably in his mid-30s, tall, maybe 6'2" or 6'3", dark hair, perfectly styled, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my car. Actually, definitely cost more than my car. He had the kind of face that belonged on magazine covers, strong jaw, dark eyes that seemed to see everything, the kind of presence that made everyone in the room aware of his existence, even when he wasn't speaking. "I can't take your table," I said. "You had a reservation, and now I don't. You need the table. I'm offering it, unless you'd prefer to continue arguing with the hostess while your mother waits in a cab." He'd seen my mother. He'd been watching this whole interaction. Somehow that should have been creepy, but instead it just felt observant. "I can't possibly. That's too much. It's a table at a restaurant. I'm not giving you a kidney. Take it." The hostess was looking between us like she was watching a tennis match. "Mr. Moretti, are you certain?" "Would I offer if I wasn't?" "Of course, right away." She turned to me with a completely different expression now. Polite, almost deferential. "Right this way, Miss Morrison." "How did you know my name?" I asked the man. "You gave it to the hostess. I was standing here. I listened. It's not complicated." "Right. Of course." I felt stupid. "Thank you. Really. Thank you so much. I don't know how to repay you." "You don't need to repay me. Enjoy your dinner. Happy birthday to your mother." He turned and walked toward the bar like this was completely normal, like giving up what was apparently the best table in an exclusive restaurant was something he did every day. I stood there for a second trying to process what had just happened. The hostess cleared her throat. Miss Morrison, if you'll follow me." I followed her through the restaurant, past tables full of people in expensive clothes, eating expensive food, past waiters carrying bottles of wine that probably cost more than my rent, all the way to the back corner where there was a table set for two with a perfect view of the city lights through floor-to-ceiling windows. This is our best table. Mr. Moretti's personal table. He keeps it reserved every Saturday night. He's never given it up before. To anyone. Who is he? Someone you don't want to owe a favor to. The way she said it made my stomach twist. But before I could ask what that meant, she handed me 2 menus and disappeared. I went back outside to get my mother. The cab driver was reading a newspaper and didn't look up when I opened the door. "Mom, our table's ready." Her face lit up. "I knew you'd figure it out, sweetheart. You always do." I didn't correct her. Didn't tell her about the reservation that didn't exist or the stranger who'd given up his table. I just took her arm and helped her out of the cab and walked her into the restaurant like everything had gone according to plan. When we got to the table, she actually gasped. "Lily, this is beautiful. How did you manage this?" "Got lucky, I guess." She squeezed my hand. "You're a good daughter. I know this wasn't easy to afford. Thank you." I wanted to cry. Instead, I smiled and helped her into her chair and opened my menu and tried to focus on making this night perfect. The waiter came over. Young guy, probably my age. He looked at our table and his eyebrows went up slightly. "Good evening. Welcome to Bellissimo. Can I start you with something to drink?" We ordered water and wine. The wine was the cheapest bottle on the menu and still cost $60. I tried not to think about my credit card bill. Tried not to calculate how many shifts at my weekend retail job it would take to pay this off. Tried to just be present with my mother, who was smiling wider than she had in months. We ordered appetizers, then entrees. Everything was perfect. The food was incredible. My mother told stories about when I was little, about my father, before he died when I was 12, about all the places she wanted to visit once she was healthy again. Rome, Paris, Barcelona, all the places we dreamed about but never thought we'd actually see. After I beat this thing, after I'm in remission, we're going to travel. See the world. Make up for lost time. Absolutely. Anywhere you want to go. I mean it, Lily. No more waiting.
No more someday. Life's too short. I learned that this year. You have to grab happiness when you can. I know, Mom. Do you? Because you're always working, always taking care of me, always putting your life on hold. When's the last time you went on a date? Saw your friends? Did something just for you? I'm fine. I like taking care of you. I know you do. But you can't put your whole life on pause just because I'm sick. Promise me you'll start living again, once I'm better. Promise me you'll take chances. Meet people. Be young. I promise. I didn't tell her that I couldn't imagine dating anyone right now. That Marcus, my ex-boyfriend, had left 6 months ago when my mother's diagnosis came back. That he'd sat me down and told me he couldn't handle the stress. That he needed someone who could focus on him instead of constantly worrying about family problems. That he'd basically admitted he was too selfish to stick around when things got hard. I didn't tell her that I'd decided men weren't worth the risk. That trusting someone meant giving them the power to leave. That I'd rather be alone than go through that kind of betrayal again. We were halfway through our entrees when the waiter came back with a bottle of wine. Compliments of Mr. Moretti. I looked toward the bar. The man from earlier was sitting there, with a glass of what looked like whiskey. He was watching us. Not in a creepy way. Just observing. Making sure we were okay. "Please tell Mr. Moretti thank you, but we can't accept this. It's too much." The waiter looked uncomfortable. "Mr. Moretti doesn't make offers expecting them to be refused, miss. It would be unwise to turn down his generosity." The way he said unwise made that twist in my stomach come back. But my mother was already picking up her glass, looking at the wine with appreciation. "Well, we certainly can't be rude. Pour us some and we'll toast to our generous benefactor." The waiter poured 2 glasses and left quickly, like he was uncomfortable being caught between us and Mr. Moretti. My mother raised her glass toward the bar. The man, Mr. Moretti, raised his whiskey glass back. Small smile, acknowledgement. My mother turned to me. Do you know him? No, he's the one who gave us the table. Really? How generous. You should go thank him properly when we're done eating. Mom, I'm not going to bother a stranger. It's not bothering if he sent us wine. That's an invitation for conversation. Or it's just being polite. Men who look like that don't give up expensive tables and send expensive wine just to be polite, sweetheart. He's interested. He's not interested, he's just being kind. But even as I said it, I wondered if that was true. Why would someone give up their personal table? Why send wine? Why keep watching to make sure we were okay? Dinner lasted another hour. We had dessert, talked more, made plans for when she finished treatment, when she was healthy again, when life could go back to normal. Finally, the waiter brought the check. I opened it, expecting to have a heart attack over the total. Instead, there was a note written in elegant handwriting on expensive paper. Dinner is paid for. Happy birthday to your mother. And you owe me nothing. But if you'd like to thank me in person, I'll be at the bar for the next 30 minutes. No pressure, no obligation, just an offer. Adrian Moretti. I stared at the note, read it 3 times. My mother leaned over to see what had my attention. What is it? He paid for dinner. Everything. The whole meal. The man from the bar? Yes. Well, then you definitely need to go thank him properly. That's not just generous, that's... How much did dinner cost? I looked at the receipt attached to the note. My throat went dry. More than my rent. For 3 months. Oh my God, Lily! You have to go talk to him. Mom, I can't accept this. This is too much. I need to pay him back. You will, eventually. But first, you go thank him properly. And you find out why he did this. Because men don't pay for expensive dinners for strangers without a reason. She was right, and I needed to know what that reason was. Needed to understand what I'd just accepted. Whether I wanted to or not. I helped my mother to her feet, got her coat from the coat check, made sure she was settled in a taxi before heading back inside. The restaurant was starting to empty out. Late dinner crowd heading home. Mr. Moretti was still at the bar. Same seat, same glass of whiskey, same observant expression. I walked over, felt my heart pounding, tried to keep my voice steady. Mr. Moretti, I need to talk to you. He turned slightly. Your mother got home safely? She's in a cab. She's fine. But we need to discuss what you did tonight. I gave you a table and paid for a meal. It's not that complicated. It's very complicated. That dinner costs thousands of dollars. I can't accept that from a stranger. Then consider me not a stranger. I'm Adrian Moretti. You're Lily Morrison. Now we're acquainted. He gestured to the empty seat next to him. Would you like to sit, or would you prefer to have this conversation standing? I sat, mostly because my legs felt shaky. Why did you do this? Give up your table? Pay for everything? You don't know us. True, but I saw someone trying to do something nice for their mother. Someone who clearly couldn't afford it but was trying anyway. That's worth helping. Just out of kindness? Does kindness require a reason beyond helping someone who needs it? In my experience, yes. Nothing is free. Everyone wants something. Smart. Most people don't figure that out until they're much older. He took a sip of his drink. You're right. I do want something. But not tonight. Tonight, I just wanted to help someone who reminded me of my sister. Your sister? She died 5 years ago. Cancer. She was 53. Your mother reminds me of her. The way she smiled, the way she looked at you, like you were her whole world. His voice had changed, softer, more human. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. How could you? We just met. He set down his glass. Look, I know this seems strange. Random stranger helps with no apparent motive. But sometimes the reason is simple. I saw someone who needed help. I had the ability to provide it, so I did. That's all. The hostess said you never give up your table. To anyone. The hostess talks too much. But she's right. I don't usually. Your situation was different. Why? Because I remember what it's like to want to make someone happy and not have the resources to do it properly. Because I remember feeling helpless. Because I can help now in ways I couldn't help my sister. Call it paying it forward. Call it guilt. Call it whatever you want. The result is the same. You got to give your mother a nice birthday dinner. That matters. I wanted to stay suspicious, wanted to question his motives, but something in his voice sounded genuine. Thank you, really, for everything tonight. I'll find a way to pay you back. You don't need to, but if it makes you feel better, consider this. I'm going to make you an offer, one you can accept or refuse. No pressure either way. No consequences if you say no. What kind of offer?
He pulled a business card from his jacket pocket, set it on the bar between us. I need someone to attend business events with me. Dinners, galas, occasional social functions where having a companion makes things run more smoothly. Someone who can hold a conversation. Someone who isn't from my world. Someone I can trust to be discreet. You want me to be your date? I want you to be my associate. Someone I bring to events, someone I pay for their time. It's a business arrangement, not a relationship. How much are we talking about? $50,000? Over 6 months. 2 or 3 events per month. I'll provide appropriate clothes, transportation, everything you need. You just show up and smile and let people assume we're together. $50,000? That would cover my mother's medical bills for the next year, would pay off my credit cards, would mean I could quit one of my jobs and actually sleep more than 4 hours a night. Why me? You could hire anyone, a model, an actress, someone trained for this. Because you're real. Because you don't know my world, so you don't have preconceptions about it. Because I watched you handle stress tonight with grace. And because something tells me you could use the money. Is this legal? Attending dinners and galas with someone? Yes, nothing illegal about it. What I do for business exists in complicated territories, but what I'm asking from you is completely above board. Complicated territories, meaning what exactly? Meaning I run an import-export business that sometimes operates in areas the law doesn't clearly define. Meaning I have connections throughout the city that aren't all legitimate. Meaning my world isn't entirely legal, but it's not entirely illegal either. It's complicated, which is why I need someone who doesn't know that world, someone who won't be intimidated by it or try to use it against me. I should have stood up, should have thanked him again for dinner and walked away, should have recognized every red flag he was waving. But I thought about my mother, about the hospital bills, about the stress of trying to keep everything together on minimum wage and tips. What happens after 6 months? You've earned $50,000. You walk away. We never speak again unless you choose to. No strings, no obligations, just money for your time. And if something goes wrong, if I'm uncomfortable at an event, you tell me and we leave immediately. You have complete control over whether you continue or stop. This is an offer, not a command. I looked at the business card. Adrian Moretti, CEO. Moretti Import-Export. A phone number, an address in a part of Manhattan I'd never been to. I need time to think about it. Of course. Take a week. If you're interested, call the number. If not, I'll wish you well, and you'll never hear from me again. Just like that? Just like that. No pressure, no consequences, no strings. He stood up. Your mother seems like a wonderful woman. I hope she recovers fully. And I hope tonight gave her a happy memory. That's worth more than any amount of money. He walked away before I could respond, just disappeared into the crowd of people still lingering near the entrance. I sat at the bar for another 10 minutes, just processing, trying to decide if I was crazy for even considering his offer, trying to figure out what the catch was, because there had to be a catch. The taxi ride home was quiet. I kept looking at the business card, kept replaying the conversation, kept wondering what kind of person accepts money from a stranger to attend events in a world they don't understand. The next morning, I woke up to a text from my mother. "Thank you for last night. Best birthday I've had in years. You're wonderful. Love you." I smiled. Then I opened my laptop and Googled Adrian Moretti. The results were interesting. Adrian Moretti, age 36, CEO of Moretti Import-Export, worth an estimated $50 million. Connections throughout New York's business community, a few photos from charity events, always in expensive suits, always with beautiful women, sometimes the same woman for a few months, then someone new. Nothing that screamed criminal or dangerous, but also nothing that explained his business operations or why he'd need to pay someone to attend events with him. I spent the next 3 days researching, looking for any information about what he actually did, how he made his money, what those complicated territories meant. I found vague mentions of import businesses, of shipping contracts with international companies, of real estate holdings throughout the city, but nothing concrete, nothing that explained the expensive clothes and private tables and the kind of money that made $50,000 feel like pocket change. On day 4, my mother's insurance company called. They were denying coverage for her next round of treatments. She'd need to pay out of pocket, $14,000, due in 2 weeks, or she'd have to delay treatment while they appealed the decision. Delaying treatment meant the cancer could spread, could become untreatable, could kill her. I hung up the phone and stared at the business card I'd been carrying in my wallet for 4 days. Then I called the number. He answered on the second ring. "Adrian Moretti?" "It's Lily from the restaurant." "Lily, have you thought about my offer?" "I have questions." "Ask them." "If I do this, if I attend these events, what happens if someone asks how we met?" "We were introduced by mutual friends. Keep it vague. People rarely ask for details." "What if they ask about my background, my job?" "Tell them the truth. You work retail. You're putting yourself through school. People respect honesty." "What if someone recognizes that I don't belong in your world?" "Then they recognize it. I'm not asking you to pretend to be someone you're not. I'm asking you to accompany me to events. Be yourself. That's all." "What about physical contact? If people assume we're together, they'll expect things. They'll expect us to look comfortable together. I might put my hand on your back, might hold your hand occasionally, nothing more unless you explicitly agree to it. And I will never agree to it. This is professional, not personal." "What if I hate it? What if I go to one event and decide this isn't for me?" "Then you get paid for that one event, $5,000, and we part ways. No hard feelings." $5,000 for one event? "Yes. That seems excessive." "That's my rate. Take it or leave it." I thought about my mother, about the hospital bill, about having a solution right in front of me, even if it came with questions and concerns. When would I start? "There's a charity gala Saturday night, 4 days from now. Black tie. I'll have clothes delivered to your address. A car will pick you up at 7. "You know where I live?" "I have excellent resources. Is that a problem?" It should have been, but I was too desperate to care. "I suppose not." "Then I'll see you Saturday. And Lily." "Yes?" "Thank you for giving this a chance. I think you'll be surprised how well it works out." He hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, wondering if I'd just made the best decision of my life or signed up for something I'd regret forever. The next day, a delivery arrived. 3 large boxes from a designer boutique I'd only seen in magazines. Inside was a dress that made me gasp when I saw it. Deep emerald green, silk, simple but elegant, The kind of dress I'd never have occasion to wear in my normal life. The kind of dress that probably cost more than my monthly salary. There were shoes, heels that matched perfectly, a clutch purse, even jewelry, earrings and a bracelet that looked real, that looked expensive. Everything fit perfectly, like it had been made specifically for me. There was a note. Trust me, you'll be perfect. A. I tried everything on, looked at myself in my tiny bathroom mirror, barely recognized the woman staring back at me. She looked elegant, sophisticated, like someone who belonged at expensive galas instead of serving coffee at a chain restaurant. Friday night, I couldn't sleep, kept going over worst-case scenarios. What if I said something stupid? What if I used the wrong fork? What if everyone immediately recognized I didn't belong? What if this was all some elaborate scheme and I was walking into danger? Saturday arrived too fast. I spent the morning working my retail shift, came home, showered, did my makeup carefully, put on the dress and shoes and jewelry, tried to transform myself into someone who could pull this off. The car arrived at exactly 7, black, expensive, driver in a suit who opened the door for me and said, "Miss Morrison, Mr. Moretti is waiting." We drove through Manhattan, into neighborhoods I'd only seen in movies, past buildings that cost millions, finally pulled up in front of a hotel where there were photographers and people in evening clothes everywhere. I felt my heart pounding. This was real. This was actually happening. The driver opened my door. "Mr. Moretti is inside. He asked me to bring you to the private entrance." We went around to a side door. No photographers, no crowds, just security who nodded when they saw the driver. Inside was a private hallway. At the end, Adrian Moretti was waiting. He was wearing a tuxedo, looking like he'd stepped out of a magazine. When he saw me, something in his expression changed. Not quite a smile, more like appreciation. "Lily, you look beautiful. The dress does most of the work." "No, you do." He said it simply, like it was fact, not flattery. "Are you ready?" "No, but I'm here anyway." "That's brave. I appreciate brave." He offered his arm. I took it, felt the expensive fabric of his tuxedo, felt the strength underneath, felt like I was about to step into a world I didn't understand. "Stay close to me," he said as we walked. "Smile when people talk to you. If anyone asks personal questions, keep your answers vague. If you're uncomfortable at any point, tell me and we'll leave immediately. Understood?" "Understood." We entered the ballroom. It was incredible. Crystal chandeliers, hundreds of people in evening clothes, an orchestra playing, tables decorated with flowers that probably cost more than my rent. Everyone looked wealthy, important, like they belonged in this world. I felt like an imposter. Adrian's hand moved to my lower back, guiding me, protective but not controlling. "Breathe," he said quietly. "You're doing fine." We made our way through the crowd. People stopped us constantly. Business associates, politicians, other men in expensive tuxedos, with women who looked like models. Adrian introduced me simply. "This is Lily Morrison. She's accompanying me this evening." Not girlfriend, not date, just accompanying. Most people didn't seem to care. They shook my hand, made polite conversation about the charity or the venue or the weather, then turned their attention to Adrian. I was decoration, an accessory, proof that Adrian Moretti had a companion. That was all they needed to know. We were an hour into the event when a woman approached. She was beautiful, late 30s maybe, wearing a dress that probably cost more than my car. Her eyes moved over me like I was something unpleasant. "Adrian, I didn't realize you were seeing someone." "Victoria, you look well." "Who's your friend?" "This is Lily. She's my guest this evening." "How long have you been dating?" "We're not dating. She's accompanying me to events as a professional arrangement." I felt my stomach drop. He'd just told her the truth, or part of it. Victoria's eyes sharpened. A professional arrangement. How interesting. Does she know what she's gotten herself into? She knows everything she needs to know. Does she? Does she know about your business, your connections, the kinds of people you associate with? Victoria, this isn't the time or place. I'm just concerned for her well-being. Young girls sometimes don't understand the dangers of getting involved with men like you. Adrian's expression went cold. I think you have other people to talk to. Enjoy your evening. It wasn't a request. It was a dismissal. Victoria looked like she wanted to argue, but something in Adrian's face stopped her. She walked away, but not before giving me one last look that clearly said I was in over my head. Who was she? I asked. Someone who thinks she has more claim on my time than she does. Ignore her. She seemed to know a lot about you. She knows rumors, not facts. There's a difference. What kind of rumors? The kind that exaggerate and distort. My business isn't entirely conventional. That makes people speculate, create stories. Most of them aren't true. And the ones that are true are none of Victoria's concern or yours, unless they affect your safety, which they don't. He said it with certainty, but I wasn't sure I believed him. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. More people, more conversations. Adrian introduced me to what felt like hundreds of people. I smiled and nodded and played my role. At one point, we danced. He was a good dancer, confident, leading without being pushy. His hand stayed at a respectful distance on my back, never wandering, never inappropriate. You're doing well, he said quietly. Everyone thinks I'm out of place. No, everyone thinks I'm with me. That's all that matters. When the gala finally ended, we left together, got into his car. He told the driver to take me home. You survived your first event. How do you feel? Overwhelmed, confused, like I just spent 4 hours in a world I don't understand. That's normal. It gets easier. He pulled an envelope from his jacket, handed it to me. Your first payment, $5,000, as promised. I opened it. Inside were crisp $100 bills, more money than I'd ever held at once. This feels surreal. It's real, and you earned it. You played your role perfectly. I just stood there and smiled. You represented me well. You handled Victoria's passive aggression with grace. You made people believe we were comfortable together. That's exactly what I needed. The car pulled up outside my apartment building. Adrian got out and opened my door, walked me to the entrance. Same time next month? Next month? The arrangement is for 6 months, unless you want to stop now, which is your choice. I thought about my mother, about the hospital bill,
About having a solution to problems that had seemed insurmountable. No, I'll continue. Same time next month. Excellent. He hesitated, then said, Lily, I know this is strange. I know you have questions about my business and my world. If you ever feel unsafe or uncomfortable, you tell me immediately. Your safety matters more than any event or arrangement. Understood? Understood? Good. Have a good night. You did better than you think you did. He left. I went inside, counted the money again. It was real. All of it. I'd just earned $5,000 for standing next to a man at a party. It felt too easy, too simple, too good to be true. But it was true, and I needed it. So I put the money in my sock drawer and tried to sleep, and told myself this was just a job, just a way to help my mother, just a temporary solution to temporary problems, nothing more. The second event was 3 weeks later, another gala, different charity, same crowd of wealthy people making small talk about money and business and things that didn't matter. I was less nervous this time. The dress Adrian sent was different but equally beautiful. Deep red, the color of wine. I wore it and felt more comfortable than I had at the first event. Like maybe I could pull this off.
Adrian picked me up personally this time, knocked on my apartment door at exactly 7. When I opened it, he smiled. Red looks good on you. Thank you. Are you ready? As ready as I'll be. The event was similar to the first. People, conversations, Adrian's hand on my back guiding me through crowds. I met business associates and politicians and wealthy families with connections throughout the city. Everyone was polite. Everyone seemed to accept that I was with Adrian. Nobody questioned it. We were about 2 hours in when I excused myself to use the restroom. The bathroom was empty, fancy, marble and gold fixtures. I was washing my hands when Victoria walked in. She looked at me in the mirror. You're still doing this, playing Adrian's companion. I'm attending events. Yes. Do you know what he does? Really does? He runs an import-export business. She laughed. Is that what he told you? Sweetheart, Adrian Moretti is connected to half the organized crime in New York. His family has been running operations in this city for 3 generations. Import-export is code for money laundering and smuggling and things that would get normal people arrested. I felt cold. I don't believe you. You don't have to believe me, but ask yourself why a man like Adrian needs to pay someone to attend events with him, why he can't find a girlfriend like normal people, why women who know his world won't touch him with a 10-foot pole. Maybe because people like you spread rumors and lies about him, or maybe because smart women know better than to get involved with dangerous men. But you do what you want. Just don't say I didn't warn you when things go wrong. She left. I stood there staring at my reflection, trying to process what she'd said, trying to decide if she was telling the truth or trying to scare me. I went back to the ballroom, found Adrian talking to a group of men in expensive suits. When he saw me, he excused himself and came over. Is everything okay? You look pale. Can we talk? Privately? Of course. He led me to a quiet hallway away from the crowds. What happened? Victoria cornered me in the bathroom. She said, things about your business, about your family, about organized crime. His expression didn't change. What did she say specifically? That your import-export business is code for illegal operations, that your family has connections to organized crime, that you're dangerous. And do you believe her? I don't know what to believe. He was quiet for a moment, then said, sit down. There was a bench along the wall. We sat. He turned to face me. I'm going to be honest with you, because you deserve honesty. My family does have a history in this city. My grandfather ran operations that weren't entirely legal. Gambling, protection, things that the law frowned on. My father cleaned up most of it, made the business more legitimate. I've continued that process, but we still have connections, still work with people who operate outside the law, still do business that exists in gray areas. So Victoria was telling the truth? She was telling part of the truth and exaggerating the rest. Yes, I have connections to people in organized crime. No, I'm not running illegal operations. My business is legitimate. But I can't control who my family did business with 30 years ago. I can't erase history. Why didn't you tell me this before? Because I didn't want to scare you away. Because most people hear organized crime and assume the worst. Because I wanted you to judge me based on how I treated you, not based on rumors about my family history. This feels like something I should have known before agreeing to this arrangement. You're right. I should have been more upfront. I'm sorry. He stood up. If you want to end this now, I understand. I'll pay you for tonight and we'll part ways. No hard feelings. I should have said yes. Should have taken the money and walked away. Should have recognized that this was exactly the kind of situation my mother had warned me about. But I looked at Adrian and saw genuine regret. Saw someone who'd been honest when he could have lied. Saw someone who was giving me a choice instead of trying to manipulate me. I need to think about it. Of course. Take your time. We went back to the gala. Finished the evening. Adrian was polite and distant, giving me space to process. When he dropped me off at my apartment, he handed me the envelope with my payment. I mean what I said. If you want to stop, just tell me. No consequences, no problems. Just, I hope you don't, but I understand if you do. I took the money. I'll call you in a few days, whenever you're ready. I went inside and counted the money. $5,000. Added to the first payment, I had $10,000 now, enough to cover my mother's next treatment, enough to pay down my credit cards, enough to make a difference. But was it worth the risk? I spent 2 days researching, looking up Adrian's family, his business, his connections. What I found was complicated. The Moretti family did have a history. Adrian's grandfather had been investigated multiple times for racketeering and illegal gambling, but he'd never been convicted. Adrian's father had transitioned the business, bought legitimate companies, invested in real estate, cleaned up the family reputation. Adrian himself had no criminal record, no arrests, no investigations. He ran what appeared to be a legitimate import-export business, with contracts throughout the world. But he also had connections, friends who'd been arrested, business partners who operated on the edges of the law, associates who were known to authorities. It was exactly what he'd said. Complicated. Not entirely clean, but not entirely dirty either. Gray areas. I called Sarah, my best friend from college, told her everything about the restaurant, the arrangement, the money, what Victoria had said. So let me get this straight, she said. A gorgeous, rich man is paying you thousands of dollars to attend parties with him, and your concern is that his family has a shady history. His family has connections to organized crime, Sarah. That's more than shady. But he doesn't, right? He's not actually doing anything illegal. Not that I can find. Then what's the problem? You need money. He's offering money for going to parties. That's literally the easiest job in the world. It feels wrong. Why? Because rich people shouldn't have complicated families? Because men with money must want something terrible? Sometimes good things happen, Lily. Sometimes people just want to help. He's not just helping. He's paying me to be his fake girlfriend. No, he's paying you to attend events. You said it yourself. It's professional, not romantic. He's not asking you to sleep with him. He's asking you to smile and make small talk. That's it. She was right, sort of, but I still felt uncomfortable. What if something goes wrong? What if his world is more dangerous than he's admitting? Then you stop. You walk away. You've already made $10,000. That's not nothing. But if you're too scared to continue, don't. Tell him thanks but no thanks and move on. I thought about it for another day. Then I called Adrian. I'll continue, but I need you to promise me something. Name it. If anything dangerous happens, if your world becomes a threat to me in any way, you tell me immediately and let me leave. No questions, no pressure. Just honesty. I promise. You have my word. Okay, then I'll see you at the next event. Thank you, Lily, for giving me another chance. We continued. Event after event. Gala after gala. Business dinner after business dinner. I attended events with Adrian, smiled and played my role, collected my payments, used the money to pay my mother's medical bills. Each time it got easier. Each time I felt more comfortable. People stopped questioning who I was, started accepting that I was Adrian's companion, part of his life. The questions stopped. The stares decreased. I became part of the background of his world. And somewhere along the way, things started to change. Adrian and I began talking more. Real conversations, not just logistics about events. He'd call to check how my mother was doing, ask about my week, tell me about problems at work or frustrations with business. I told him about my jobs, my goals, my fear that my mother wouldn't beat the cancer, my worry that I was wasting my 20s taking care of her instead of living my own life.
We bonded over complicated families and responsibility and the weight of trying to keep everything together when things felt like they were falling apart. And I started to like him. Not in a romantic way, or at least I told myself it wasn't romantic, just as a person, as someone I enjoyed talking to, as someone who seemed to understand parts of my life that other people didn't. 3 months into our arrangement, something happened. We were at a business dinner. Adrian was meeting with investors for a new shipping contract. I was there as decoration, playing my role, making small talk with the wives while the men discussed business. One of the investors, a man named Richard Castellano, kept staring at me, not looking, staring, in a way that made my skin crawl. "Your girlfriend is lovely, Adrian. Where did you find such a beauty?" "We were introduced through mutual friends." "Lucky friends. Does she have a name?" "Sophia." I lied, automatically. We'd established fake names for situations like this, people who didn't need to know my real identity. "Sophia. Beautiful name. Tell me, Sophia, what do you see in a man like Adrian Moretti?" "I see someone intelligent and honest." "Why?" "Because men like Adrian have reputations, and beautiful young women sometimes don't understand what they're getting involved in. The world he operates in can be dangerous for those who aren't prepared." Adrian's hand found mine under the table, squeezed once. A warning. "Don't engage. Let me handle this."
"I appreciate your concern," I said carefully, "but I can take care of myself." "Can you?" "That's good, because this world has a way of chewing up and spitting out people who don't belong, especially beautiful companions who make convenient targets." The threat in his words was clear. Adrian stood up. His expression was calm, but something in his posture had changed. "Richard, a word. In private." "Adrian, I was just making conversation." "Now." They left the table. The other investors suddenly became very interested in their food. Nobody met my eyes. Adrian and Richard were gone for maybe 5 minutes. When they came back, Richard's face was pale, angry, but quiet. Adrian sat down. His hand found mine again. "We're leaving." "What? Why?" "Because Richard just implied a threat against you, and I don't do business with people who threaten what's mine." What's mine? The word sent a strange feeling through my chest. We left the restaurant. Adrian's driver was waiting. We got in the car. "I'm sorry you had to hear that," Adrian said. What did he mean about me being a target? He meant that in my world, people sometimes use companions as leverage, hurt the girlfriend to get to the boyfriend, make threats to gain information or concessions. It's a common tactic. Is that going to happen to me? No, because Richard Castellano just burned every bridge he had with my network, every business connection, every potential contract. He'll be out of work within a week, and everyone at that table knows it. Nobody will touch you. Because I'm under your protection? Because you're mine. There was that phrase again, and this time I heard the possessiveness in it, the claim. "Adrian, I'm not really yours. This is an arrangement, a business deal." He turned to look at me. "Is it? Still? After 3 months of talking every day? After sharing things we don't share with other people? After becoming whatever this has become?" My heart was pounding. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying this stopped being just business for me weeks ago. I'm saying I look forward to events because I get to spend time with you. I'm saying I think about you when I shouldn't. I'm saying this has become more than an arrangement, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but I needed to say it anyway. This is complicated. I know. You're paying me. That makes this wrong, doesn't it? Then I'll stop paying you, right now. You keep what I've given you, no questions, no expectations, but from now on, if you attend events with me, it's because you want to, not because of money. Adrian, I need that money. My mother's bills. I'll help with your mother's bills regardless. As a gift, not as payment. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to do anything for it. I want to help because I care about you and I care about your mother, because that's what you do when you care about someone. Why? Why do you care about me? We barely know each other. We know each other better than you think. I know you work 2 jobs and never complain. I know you call your mother every day even when you're exhausted. I know you feel guilty for wanting a life outside of being a caretaker. I know you're scared of trusting anyone because your ex left when things got hard. I know you better than you think I do. And what I know makes me care. I couldn't breathe. This was too much, too fast, too real. I don't know how to do this, how to trust this. Neither do I, but I'd like to try if you're willing. What if it doesn't work? What if we try and it falls apart, and then I've ruined everything? Then we deal with it like adults. No drama, no burning bridges, just 2 people who tried and it didn't work out. That's not the end of the world. It feels like it could be, only if we let it be. He reached out slowly, giving me time to pull away, touched my face gently. I'm not asking for forever. I'm just asking for a chance to see if this thing between us is real, to see if we could be something more than an arrangement. What about the events, the appearances? Keep coming with me, but as my actual girlfriend, not as my paid companion, as someone who wants to be there, someone who wants to spend time with me. And if people ask how we met, we tell them the truth. We met when I gave up my table at a restaurant. We started attending events together. We fell for each other. Simple. Nothing about this is simple. No, but it could be, if we let it be. I looked at him, at this man who'd walked into my life by accident and somehow become someone I couldn't imagine losing. Someone who'd been honest when he could have lied. Someone who'd protected me without making me feel weak. Someone who saw me as more than just a pretty face or convenient companion. Okay, I said quietly. We try, but slow and honest. If something feels wrong or scary or too much, we talk about it immediately. Deal. He smiled, leaned in slowly, kissed me, soft and careful, like he was asking permission. I kissed him back, and everything about the arrangement and the money and the business melted away. This was just 2 people taking a risk, 2 people choosing to trust despite all the reasons not to. 2 people deciding to see what could happen if they stopped pretending. That was 4 months ago. Things between Adrian and I aren't perfect. They're messy and complicated and sometimes scary. His world is still dangerous. There are still people like Richard Castellano who see me as something to use against him. There are still threats and situations I don't fully understand. But Adrian keeps his promises. He protects me. He's honest about his business and his connections and the gray areas he operates in. He never makes me feel less than or controlled. And he's helped my mother in ways I never could have managed alone. Her treatments are covered, her medications paid for, her stress is reduced because she's not worried about bills. She's improving. The cancer is responding to treatment, and her doctors are optimistic about remission. And Adrian did that. Not as payment, not as obligation, just as someone who cared.
My mother loves him. She figured out he was the man from the restaurant within 5 minutes of meeting him properly. Told me I was an idiot if I let him go. Sarah is still cautious. She worries about the danger, about what it means to date someone whose family history is complicated and whose business connections sometimes cross legal lines. I worry too, but I also know that Adrian has never lied to me, never pretended to be something he's not, never made me regret taking that risk 4 months ago when he told me this had become real. We're at his penthouse now. He bought it 2 months after we started dating officially. Told me he wanted a place that felt like ours instead of his, a place where we could build something together. There's a guest room. My mother stays there when her treatments make her too tired to go home. She has her own space, her own bathroom, everything she needs. And Adrian treats her like family. Asks about her health, brings her books she might like, makes sure she's comfortable. He's in the kitchen now, making dinner,
because apparently men who run import-export businesses with complicated connections also know how to cook perfect risotto from scratch. "What are you thinking about?" he asks without turning around. "How weird my life is now." "Good weird or bad weird?" "Mostly good weird. Some scary weird. But good overall." He comes over, wraps his arms around me from behind. "Any regrets?" "About taking your table that night? No. About accepting your arrangement? Sometimes. About falling for you despite every red flag and warning sign? Every single day, but I do it anyway." "That's the most romantic thing you've ever said to me." "I'm not romantic." "You're the most romantic person I know. You just don't realize it. Everything you do comes from caring. That's the definition of romantic." I lean back against him, let myself feel safe in his arms, let myself believe this is real. "Your world still scares me sometimes." "I know. It scares me sometimes too. But I'm not going to let anything happen to you. You know that, right?" "I know you'll try, but you can't control everything." "No, but I can control how I respond. And my response to any threat against you is absolute, complete, no mercy." That should probably scare me more than it does. But it doesn't? No, it makes me feel safe. Is that wrong? No, that's exactly what it should make you feel, because you are safe, with me, always. We stand like that for a while, just being together, just existing in this strange life we've built. Then I say, "I need to tell you something." That sounds ominous. It's not ominous. It's important. I turn to face him. "I love you. I've been scared to say it because everything about us is unconventional and complicated and probably destined to blow up in our faces eventually, but I love you anyway, and I thought you should know." His expression does something I've never seen before. Softens completely. "I love you too. I have since that second gala when you told off Richard Castellana without breaking a sweat. I've just been waiting for you to catch up. I'm a slow learner. You're careful. There's a difference." He kisses me, and I think about how strange life is, how desperate moments can lead to unexpected happiness, how taking risks sometimes pays off in ways you never imagined. "We should probably eat." He says, "The risotto's going to burn." "Let it burn. You're going to regret that when you're hungry later." "I'll risk it." We end up eating the risotto. It's perfect, like everything else Adrian does. We talk about plans for the weekend, about my mother's next doctor appointment, about a business trip Adrian has coming up and whether I want to come with him. Normal couple things, even though we're not a normal couple. Even though this relationship started with a business arrangement and desperation and a stranger giving up his table. But that's our story, and I wouldn't change it. My name is Lily Morrison. I'm 24 years old. I once took a table at an expensive restaurant because I was desperate to give my mother a nice birthday. The man whose table I took paid for dinner, then offered me $50,000 to attend events with him. I said yes because I needed money for my mother's medical bills. I stayed because somewhere between the arrangements and the galas and the business dinners, I fell in love with him, and he fell in love with me. People ask sometimes if I regret it, if I wish I'd walked away that night, if the complications and dangers are worth it. The answer changes depending on the day. Some days I'm scared. Some days I wonder if loving Adrian Moretti is the best or worst decision I've ever made. Some days I think about how much simpler life would be if I just accepted that my reservation was canceled and taken my mother to a diner instead. But most days, I look at the life I have now and can't imagine being anywhere else, with anyone else, building anything else. Because Adrian saved me that night, not just by paying for dinner, but by seeing me when I felt invisible, by offering help when I was drowning, by proving that not everyone leaves when things get hard. So when people ask if I regret taking his table, I tell them the truth. I regret nothing. That moment of desperation led to everything I have now. That choice to say yes to his arrangement led to a relationship that changed my life. That willingness to take a risk led to love I didn't know I was capable of feeling.
And sometimes the best things in life come from the moments when you're most desperate, most scared, most willing to do something unconventional because the conventional options have all failed you. Adrian walks over with wine, hands me a glass. To taking chances on strangers. To strangers who turn out to not be so strange at all. To women brave enough to accept help from complicated men. To complicated men who turn out to have good hearts buried under all those complications. We drink, and I look out at the city spread below us, at the life we're building together despite everything that says we shouldn't. My mother is healthy now, in remission, planning trips to all the places she dreamed about during treatment. Rome, Paris, Barcelona. She's living the life she almost didn't get to live. And I'm living a life I never imagined, with a man I never expected to meet, building something real out of something that started as pretend. It's not perfect. It's messy and complicated and probably not what anyone would recommend. But it's ours. And after everything we've been through to get here, that's enough. More than enough. That's everything.